I'm Jason Epperson. This is RV Miles, and it's time for the latest in RV and camping news. Welcome back, everybody. Glad to have you back. Hope you're enjoying your summer camping season. First up, a reminder to make sure your propane detector is working properly and not expired. 2 women from Massachusetts died after a trailer explosion at a campground in Old Orchard Beach, Maine, officials with the Maine Department of Public Safety said. The explosion happened shortly after noon at the Powderhorn Campground. Fire and EMS crews responded and found both women with serious burn injuries. The 2 58-year-old women were taken to Maine Medical Center in Portland and died on Sunday. Officials said the explosion appears to have been caused by a leak of LP gas that had built up inside and underneath the camper. Investigators believe the gas ignited when one of the women lit a candle. If you're wondering whether your RV propane detector is working properly, there are a few simple checks you can do. First, look at the light. It's an LED indicator on the detector itself. Most models will have a solid green or a blinking green light to show you that they're functioning. If you see a red light or no light at all, that could mean the detector isn't powered or it's malfunctioning. All of this should be described right on the detector so you can have all this information right there. These detectors are hardwired into your RV's 12-volt system. They don't have their own batteries. They run off of your RV's batteries. Press and hold the test button on the detector, and you should hear a loud beep or a series of beeps if it's working correctly, just like a smoke detector. No sound could indicate a faulty unit or a lack of power. It's also important to check the expiration date. Most propane/CO detectors are only good for 5 to 7 years, and using one beyond that can be dangerous because older sensors may not detect gas leaks accurately. You can usually find the expiration date printed on the front or back of the device. If the unit is expired, of course, it's time to replace it. I also recommend you pick up a gas stop device for each of your propane tanks. You just screw these onto your propane tank and they immediately shut off your tank's gas supply if a leak is detected. They're much better than the built-in failsafe on the tank. These are standard equipment on European RVs. I think they're legally required over there. I wish they were over here, but there's something that you can pick up from your RV parts supplier and get yourself. More in a moment, but first, this episode is sponsored by Etra. Ever feel like finding the right RV part is like searching for a needle in a haystack? Enter etrailer.com. Whether you're puzzled about which product is right for you or how to install it, Etrailer has got you covered. Their US-based customer service is available by chat or phone 7 days a week, and with expert Q&As, helpful articles, and tons of reviews and install videos, you'll tackle any RV problem with confidence. Etrailer strives to get their hands on everything they sell, and their website is full of overviews, reviews, buying guides, and tutorials. And it's not just RV parts, it's towing and vehicle accessories, camping supplies, and more. Head to the link in the description and get free shipping on orders over $99. Results for the RV Industry Association's June 2025 survey of manufacturers found total RV shipments ended the month with 29,332 units. That's a 15.9% increase over June of 2024. To date, RV shipments are up 6.8% with 190,000 plus units. As new 2026 model year units hit the lots, this is sort of a reversal from what we talked about last month, where for the first time in a while, shipments dropped over the previous year's number. Towable RVs, led by conventional travel trailers, ended June up 15.3% from last June with 26,000 plus units. Motorhomes finished the month up 22.4% compared to the same month last year with 2,800 units. Motorhomes have been crashing hard for a while now, so this is good news for motorhome manufacturers, but RV shipments are still outpacing RV sales. These numbers, shipments, are just the number of RVs that are built, not who's buying them. We get those numbers separately from a different organization, so it's always interesting to see how they line up. And so far this year, shipments have been drastically outpacing sales. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with July's numbers because RV manufacturers often take a shutdown week or two during the beginning of the month. And of course, I'll be interested to see where June's actual RV sales numbers end up. This has really been a bit of a roller coaster of a year in the RV industry. One of the bigger problems in the RV industry has been something called repair event cycle time, which is basically how long it takes to get RV repair at a dealership once you have a problem. We've seen average numbers in some instances up to 2 months or more. RV dealers and manufacturers, though, have been making some headway on that problem, according to dealership software company IDS. IDS provides the software that manages all your appointments and all the parts ordering, all that sort of stuff. And they have hundreds of dealerships across the country, so they get to compile all this information. The average time it took to get RV repair at a dealership in June was 26 days. And that's down from highs of like 55 days. So I think a lot of room to go there still, but getting that number down well under a month is really, really great. We've talked a bit this year about the reduction in international tourism, particularly from Canada, where many RVers head down into the US for the winter to get away from the Canadian cold, but also during the busy tourist season to visit America's national parks and other destinations. And of course, Americans travel up to Canada as well. We now have some numbers from the Canadian government on that reduction in tourism. The number of Canadian resident trips to the United States in May, this is actually people returning from the United States. So the way they count them is how many people are coming into Canada that are on their return trip. That number is down 31.9% from May of 2024. Meanwhile, the overall number of arrivals in Canada by US residents rose 2.1% in May. We talked recently about how the biggest campground in Rocky Mountain National Park, Moraine Park Campground, temporarily reopened after a long refurbishment, but they just put about 2 weeks on sale. Well, now more dates have been released, and it seems as though the park is going to be open on its regular schedule. Rocky Mountain National Park released campsite reservations at Moraine Park through September 9th on recreation.gov. The Moraine Park Campground and Utility Rehabilitation Project improves the water, wastewater, and electrical distribution systems that serve not only the campground, but also Beaver Meadows Visitor Center and Rocky Mountain National Park's headquarters area and some other critical park facilities. Plus, there's more electrical sites in the campground now. That's it for this week's RV and Camping News Roundup. Here's a quick reminder, though, about our homecoming event. It's our big celebration of the end of the summer camping season. Happens in Amana, Iowa. It's a 4-day event at the end of September where we have communal meals. We visit the historic town of Amana. It's a cool German settlement with lots of wineries, breweries, antiquing, and shops, and a whole lot more. Plus, we just have seminars, we play games, we have tons and tons of raffle prizes, and it's a whole lot of fun. It's really affordable too. Your ticket essentially pays for the food, and then you pay for the campground, which is $35 a night for full hookups. It's hard to beat that these days. It's right off of I-80 near Iowa City, so it's real convenient for anyone traveling east to west. All the details are at a link in the description below. I also want to remind you that we do our national parks and public lands news. I've moved most of that off of this RV and Camping News episode and moved it over to our Parkography channel. Parkography is what used to be our America's National Parks podcast. Well, now it's called Parkography, and we have a video version of it as well. So you can find that on YouTube. Put the link again in the description, or you can find that on any podcast app. Thanks so much for being here. If you got something out of this video, hit the like button. If you want more like it, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.